I went ahead and made a mod, right? Like this. And then I put it a long stream, or what I thought was a long stream, or a decent stream, explaining physics and all a bunch of stuff. And it turns out that I didn't even hit this let's go button. So, but what I did find out in the process was that the setup isn't going to really work that well for the bear. Like it looks kind of cool, but then also there's some issues with it, right? So with the design, with the physics for it. So what I want to do is kind of address that now if I can, right? So this is the initial design, right? I got this. I made a sombrero the other day, and so now I got this parka to go over with it. But the parka really ain't working, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and hide the parka. I'm gonna make a new one, right? And I need to make a new design. So the issues that I was running into is that the back looked pretty good, right? The back looked pretty good. However, when it moves around, it gets all bunched up in here because she ain't really got that much room. So I'm gonna switch this design up a little bit and see what I can get, right? So let's go ahead and I'm just gonna make a copy of it, right? We're just gonna make a copy of it and go like that. And now I'm gonna try to just manually make some edits to it. So let's go into skull mode, and I think what I need to do is like bring it up off of, well, we're gonna use this one. Make sure I got the right one selected. There we go. All right, and so let's turn on, make sure we got both sides. I'm gonna pull this up a bit, right? Pull this up, and kind of just make this section a lot smaller. I'll bring this up, so it's gonna be almost like a cape. You know what I mean? Um, or just a smaller version, right? So we're gonna pull this up. Let's pull this out a little bit, right? All right, and then we got the back side right here. And let's pull this up here. And I'm gonna use smooth to kind of fill it up, but I just want to kind of get the design kind of taken care of. We're gonna pull a little bit up off her back. Now she kind of has like this design, which I think would do a lot better. Um, yeah. Now I also have to determine exactly how it's going to move, right? Let's move this up on her back too, nice and high, right? And let's try to even this design up a little bit so it doesn't look super squished and stretched out. Smooth this up a little bit. Right? Because I mean, it shouldn't be stretched out too much, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, cool. Go ahead and do that. All right, there we go. I think that looks good. Um, the shoulders is a rough spot for the bears because you know they got weird looking shoulders and arms. I'm gonna try to keep this kind of like away from like that crease area. Let's blend this out a little bit so it doesn't look super stretched. I mean, I don't like that this part looking super stretched already, so try to get that a little bit under control. Let's flatten this out here. All right, and I think that looks okay. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and run a little physics on it. I'll smooth this out a little bit, like this. And it's funny, like when you look at like a lot of models and stuff, you might be like, why is it like away from the body? Why is it not like just snug on the body? And a lot of times that just doesn't work very well for like the look. Um, Another option I was thinking of doing is leaving, making this part kind of like stick out a bit, which I think I might try, and then use, oh, look at this. It's like, I don't like that it's all getting warped like that, but it's whatever. Okay, so let's go into here. Oops. Let's go into here. We're going to go to edit mode. And what I want to do is I just want this top line right here. Let's see. Do I still have a pin? Nope. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a pin group. And then hit assign. And now I'm going to go ahead. And I already have collision set up on the base body. So in collisions, you just turn on collisions. And then you can turn them out how like close or far away from the body it is. And then I'm going to go to cloth. And then there's a drop cloth option that I have. I don't know if I made this or what. There we go. And I'm going to open it up. And down here, I'm going to set this pin group, right? I'm going to hit shift space to get it to move. And there we go. It's going to try to settle itself onto the body. Now, I don't know what's going on here. And what I think it is it's the solidify. So let's turn that solidify off for a second. Let's see what's happening. Like, that is crazy. It should not be doing that. So I'm thinking maybe it's too close to the body. And because it's pinned, it can't really move away. So I'm going to move this away from the body a little bit. See if that makes a change. There we go. That's what it was. So it's kind of like infected it. Alright. So that's going to settle. Nice. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. That looks pretty solid, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. Oh. And then I want to fix this collar area up here because it looks... Just going to smooth this area out a bit. There we go. That looks okay. Alright, cool. Nice. Alright. Let's go. I'll move this around. Okay, cool. So I've got this up here. Let's move this up. I think that'll help a little bit. And then I'm going to pull this in like that. I really don't like that it looks stretched out right here. I don't know how to fix that. But this is just kind of like a fun mod. I don't want to get too nitpicky with it. But yeah. Alright, so the goal is then going to be to get this to look right. So I need the physics along the back of this thing, right? And I don't want it to really move too much off of the chest area. But it's good. So what I did before also was I set everything to the spine, which is what I think I'm going to do. Or I set it to the arms and the spine. So it was kind of like connected to the arms a little bit and then to the spine. I think in this case, I'm not going to do that. I think in this case, I'm just going to connect the entire thing to spine 2, which is the upper spine. All right, so we're going to go here and let's go to weight paints. And I'm just going to delete these that aren't the spine. Let's go to weight paint, weights. I'm going to make sure my weights are set to auto normalize. Yes. And I'm just going to paint everything up. All right. It's just nice and simple. And do that. All right, cool. And now I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, we're just going to keep it like that. And I'm going to make the bear brown later. I just haven't done it yet. But yeah, so there we go. This is what I'm going to work with. Since I am not doing anything else with the parka top, I want to think of something else that I can do. So let's see. Let's go to Sketchfab, see if there's anything anything additional I can add. Maybe give her some boots. What's Sketchfab? Well, I cannot type Sketchfab. I'm looking for some boots. All right, let's look for some nice free boots, some worker boots. I don't really care. They don't need to be super detailed. Those are like military boots. Oh, they are military boots. I was like, dude, I would buy those. They look comfortable. Um, you got some basic boots here. No, these aren't too crazy. These might work. They look like somewhat low poly. I don't need anything too crazy. They got some Puss in Boots. All right, so let's do that. Is my internet not working? No, it's definitely working. Everything's just slow right now. Yeah, accept everything, all the cookies. Come on, load. Internal server error. Okay, that's not good. Is my streaming working? Yeah. Oh, thanks for the stage mod. Hey, yeah, I'm glad it works. I'm glad it works. I'd like to do more. I really would. It's difficult, and I don't like it. I don't like that it's difficult. It shouldn't be as difficult as it has been. But it is what it is. I don't know. I don't know what else I should give her. It's hard. The one thing that is kind of hard with the bears is their clothing. They have weird bodies. I don't want to body shame anybody, but the bears got weird bodies. Maybe I'll just keep it at that. Let's just keep it. Oh wait, whoa, look at these boots. These are some crazy boots. You know what I miss though? Like, and it's hard. They're probably gonna bring it back, right? Like the ATs and shit. Like they don't have those. Look at these boots. It's good boots. 30,000 for both of them. I only need one. Let's download it. We'll see. I like GLTFs. Now let's download those. All right, yeah, I can't really see the streams very well. But okay, all right, so let's just go with this for now. All right, so I've got this, and I think this should still be connected. Yep. All right, so I got this. I need to make a proxy, so I'm gonna hit Shift D, right? And I'm gonna call this, let's call this one, oops. We'll call this one version 2. V2. And then I'll call this one V2 proxy. All right. The proxy, I'm going to name this mi cow mesh. There we go. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a solidify on this thing. And I'll make it complex. There we go. That's pretty solid. And I think I'm going to add a subdivision surface on this one as well. And that's going to give me some more depth. Let's see if I should do it. What order? Move it up. And turn that off. And I think that looks good. All right, cool. Oh, and then the name, I'm gonna update. I'm gonna update the names on my stuff real quick. So the base body that I used was using a different fur material. And I just want to use the classic fur material. So copy. And I want to change this name on this bear. Hey. To that. All right, nice. And then for the parka design, I think I've got the same name. Okay, cool. So I'm going to let's go ahead and export this stuff. And I'll just call this one V2. All right. Okay, so that's done for the most part. And mainly this should help kind of give an idea of uh, and so this was the design I initially had. It kind of works, kind of looks good in some cases, but it's very ambitious, and I'm not sure I have the technical know-how to correct it. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this physics setup because I think the physics setup is decent. Um, but I'm gonna delete that. All right, and now the mesh disappears in the design. That's fine. Let's go ahead and grab our parka design, parka version 2. And the bear uses a basic MSL, so we're fine there. Go ahead and import that. There we go. So now we've got our upgraded. And because I already have all these set before originally, it all just kind of like loads, it finds it, and says, hey, I've got all this stuff. All right, cool. So that's set. So let's go ahead and set up physics for this little parka. So the goal is going to be, I believe, to I'm going to keep the top part like attached to the body, and everything else is going to be kind of free moving. All right, but I'm going to try to limit the movement to like 40, like so between 0 and 40. So 0 and 100 is like full movement, and I'm going to try to keep it at like 40. I think that'll keep it stiff enough that I'm not going to have to deal with too much craziness. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate this, and I'm going to go ahead and delete, or not delete, but unassign a mesh to it so I can see it. All right, there we go. And I'm going to right click on it, go to create clothing, and say create. Yeah, look at that. Now I'm going to isolate it, select it, and activate cloth. Then I click on this, and now my cloth is activated. So pink means that there's absolutely zero influence at all on this thing. Black means that there is zero influence on it, right? It's at zero strength, zero distance, so it's not going to move anywhere. And then 100 is, and white is the furthest that it can move, right? The most flexibility. So I'm going to go into the tools section right here. I'm going to switch this over to fill. I'm going to set my fill amount right here to 40. And I'm just going to click on it, and it fills it all the way up to 40. Now I'm going to go to brush, and we're going to set the brush to 0. And now I'm going to kind of hit up these edges. And I'm going to make my brush size just a little bit smaller. I'll say like 5. All right, and I'm going to just paint this top part. All right. And it can be a little bit messy. I can clean it up in just a second. All right. So I'm painting that top part. I want everything else to be able to move pretty well, but not this. I want this to stay at least at the neck. All right. Just even it all up. And I'm going to go back and change my brush to 40. Here. So that I can clean it. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add a 100 also to like the edges, like the lower parts, right? It's all white. So right here along the edges. I'm going to give it a little bit more flexibility to move. All right, nice. And now I'm going to switch over to blend tool and for this, or the smooth tool, and I can smooth it manually, right? I can just go up in here and smooth it manually. Control Z. Or I can use this option down here to smooth it, and it kind of like auto smooths everything. for you. But you gotta be careful. You don't want to lose too much of your stuff up top. So let's go back to the brush. Oops. Make sure you got the right brush on. Paint value, set this back to 0. And I believe you can use like vector paint to set this stuff up. But I haven't. So I'm going to move this back to, oops, let's go back to the smooth brush. And I'm going to change the strength to like 0.05. The way I can kind of have a little bit, I can feather it myself. And I still got too much away. Alright, so I'm going to make this part go a little bit deeper. To give me a little bit more gradient to work with. And I still keep grabbing too much of the top. Okay. Boom. Okay, that should be good. All right. So what this is now it's not going to move at all up top here. That's going to stay smooth. This will move about 40% of the distance, and this will move 100% of the distance at the bottom. So if I wanted to take a quick look at it, I could turn off that. Let's go back to our details. And right now this is isolated, but I'm going to go ahead and highlight this one and then right click and apply the clothing to it. Okay. And I think I applied the clothing to the wrong one. So I'm going to Control Z. So I'm going to isolate it, click this one, and now apply the clothing. All right, there we go. And so now we've got some clothing just kind of like draping off of that area, right? Yeah, and it doesn't look bad. I think it looks pretty solid. But I'm going to make a couple changes to the cloth to kind of give it the character that I want it to. And I also need to set up the physics. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to choose my physics model, which is this bear right here. And now you can see that it's kind of bouncing off of those physics. Right, there's physics underneath you can't see. If I go back and switch this to this, you'll see that. Let's turn this cow mesh, put that back on because it's an invisible material, and see kind of how it looks. And I definitely need to do some work with these physics, right? They are not doing exactly what I want. But the bear's body is kind of rough to deal with, so let's see what kind of changes I can do. Okay, it says the hip spine and whatever. I'm not sure. Create asset. This one's a little bit different. Preview mesh. In in UE4, I was able to just switch out the mesh to be used whenever I wanted to. But this doesn't seem to be working the same way. So I'm just gonna yeet this one out of here. Yeet. And I'm gonna just right click on this and create a physics asset. Okay, so now I got a new physics asset. I'm gonna go and save, go back into here, and then if I don't want to select it here and do it, I think, yeah, I can go down to the LOD section and I can click on my parka. Okay, and the physics are, or at least the physics are set to it, but I need to go into my actual physics tab and set the capsules to it. All right, there we go. So this is how it is by default, and that is not going to work, right? So let's go back into here, take a look at what we're working with. So this is definitely too big, so we're going to need to size that. So let's shrink it in a bit, right? Um, and let's just bring it down and see how that works. So I might have to make some changes to my physics up at the top. I don't know. I don't want, we got some clippage going on. Okay, now the arm pieces are definitely too big. So these are going to need to get shrunk. And the headpiece is also way too big. So let's get this in. All right. And then the face headpiece needs to get adjusted as well. All right, so we're moving that out of the way. This arm, capsule needs to get adjusted. So let's shrink that in a little bit. Hmm. Let's rotate it. All right, so let's make it, maybe I'll make it bigger. Just trying to position it within the body as much as possible. And this is also the reason that you'll see like certain physics assets and you'll be like, why is it like just floating away from the body? And it's because it's difficult. It's difficult to get it perfect. There are programs I think that you can use to kind of help with that process. But like, see, it's just the shape of the body that makes it like, ah, man. And so what this is the upper arm here. I'm gonna copy these properties, paste them to this one. And that, I don't think I did that correctly. Or maybe I did, but I need to move it in. Okay. Let's see, do I move it up? Oh, see, but the shoulders all jacked. Now, okay. Um, so spine one is down here. And I'm going to go ahead and rotate this one so it's vertical. And then let's just move back a little bit. Okay, I really want this one to not, I need this for the back side of it, but I don't want it for the front of it. And it's really, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Because if I shrink it, I mean, it might work. Let's see. Let's shrink it. Oops. Okay, and then I'm going to make a new body. Try to cover this chest area. Oops. Okay, so I don't know how good that's going to work, but let's go ahead and save that. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that and throw this one in. There we go. And I've got a little bit of clipping in the back there, but that's fine for now. Now I'm going to make some changes. So I'm going to go to, I'm going to turn this on. I think that helps. I'm not sure. I'm going to go to my environmental properties. I'm going to change the damping. I'm going to change it to like 0.3. That's like the resistance to movement. Um, it's if it's like 0.01, it's like almost zero resistance to movement. It just flip flaps all over the place. But you can kind of stiffen that up. I'm not sure about the local damping coefficient. This is from the global one. I don't know. I'll just say 0.1. I don't know what that's going to do, but maybe it gives a little bit more. I'm going to turn the drag off for the most part. So 001. So I think that helps. I'm still experimenting with a lot of things. You can increase the tessellation, which essentially is like a subdivide option um, for it. And so what I'm hoping is that this area. So the thing that I do run into a lot is the is like flipping over the head type stuff. Like that's always annoying. I think the game has a way to fix that. It might be with the drive um, options, but I don't know how to control these just yet. So let's see the amount of linear velocity sent to the local cloth space from the reference bone. Like I'm just gonna go with like a let's go with 0.5 for now and see if that does anything. Um, I don't know what the, with with UE5 I can hold Alt and then I can kind of like flick at the cloth. It kind of gave me like a demo. Um, but I haven't figured that out for this one. But these are the settings. Oh, and I'm gonna change the gravity to negative 1200, so it's pulling it down. I don't need pressure. Pressure is kind of like how much it's gonna like push in or away. If you increase the pressure, it'll like compress whatever you're working with, and then uh, of course the opposite it pushes it away. For the collision properties, this is one I'm gonna use self collisions. I set this one to about I'll set it to 0.25. That's like how far away from itself before it starts colliding with things. You can also increase this one, and like so if I went like 3, right? You see how it's pushing up and away, so it's making it like it's a thick cloth, but that's too much for sure. So I'll keep it at 1. I think 1 is fine. You might even want it thinner. Make it like 0.01, and it's like pretty much laying directly on the stuff. And you know what? We'll try that. I haven't done something that low before, so we'll see. Um, I'm not sure what the self-intersection resolution is. Let's turn it on. I don't know if it's gonna make it worse or better. And that's it. So those are my general settings. Let's see if that works. Okay, so close these. Let's go ahead and save everything. And now I need to make sure that this SK um, is where it needs to be. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it. And it needs to, hold on. All right, so I'm just essentially just replacing the SK in this design. I'm not changing any coloring options. I can't color this anyways, so there's no point. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this over here, move here. I'm going to go into here, and this is the actual name of it. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. And then put that name there. So I'm still putting this in the pack, so the game is going to go to this SK. And it's going to be like, okay, I'll load whatever you told me to load, which is this stuff and the physics and all that good stuff. So and it's going to lead it all the way back here, not to this mesh, but this should be referenced in this. So if I go into here, take a look at it, there it is. Perfect. I'm just going to hit save all. We have to apply level. It's okay. That's fine, I guess. So let's save all. All right. And I'm going to go to my data asset, which is using whatever number I gave it, set it to 1, always cook. Then I make sure that that is referenced, the correct one. And you can find out the correct one by just looking at the uh, file path name. And then also I need to include, because I killed the physics, I need to make sure that in this model I'm using the correct physics. So, or including it. So I'm going to grab this and add it here. The way this data asset is set up is that since the bulk of the things I'm adding to the game are in this folder, this panda parka folder, I'm going to use this with label assets in my directory. So everything in all these folders will be included in the mod. And then these will be included. And even though this is not what's going to be used, it's fine because the game isn't looking for it. So I can keep it there. The game's going to ignore it. It's only going to look for this thing based on the way I have this set up. But these are not in that folder. Well, this one is in the folder, so I can get rid of this. So I can get rid of that. Let's see, delete. But this is not in the folder, right? This is in its location over here. All the other stuff that I reference, it's just going to look for the file paths, and those are all in the correct location, so I don't need to worry about including those in my mod either. So everything is good to go, and it's time to go ahead and cook it up and see what it looks like. All right, so while that's cooking up, I want to look about changing the changing this, right? And so for this one, for this material, I really just want to change the skin to brown, right? Let's see. And so what I did was I took just the skin material option, and you can do that pretty easily. Just click on your mesh, go to edit mode, find whatever material you want, and you can just hit select, and it will select that thing, right? So I just selected the skin. I hit Shift D to make a copy of it. Control Z because I don't need that, right? To make a copy of it, and then you just right click, separate, and separate whatever you have selected. All right, so I did that, and now I have this. And the reason I have this by itself is because I want to go ahead and bake the changes that I made to this one in particular. And so to do that, I'm going to, oh, and the reason why I don't just do it on here is because if I click on this one, get out of that mode. All right, let's click on this one and go into edit mode. You'll see that there's a bunch of overlapping stuff. So even if I select this, I still have all this other stuff, and it's going to mess with the bake. So I'm going to keep it by itself. All right, so I got this one, and it's here. And I plugged in, if I can find my material. And so basically what I've done is I have taken the base material like this. And so this is the original one that's in the game. And it's a little bit brown right now because of the HDRI I was looking at. But so I have this, and I was like, well, it's black and white. So I'm using a color ramp to kind of better define the two sections. And then I use that as a factor to switch the color. So I can make this whatever I want. I can make it a little bit more if I want to. Change this up a little bit. Take it down. I can leave it all the way. And you know what? I might just leave it completely like that. And then I change the skin, well, not the skin, but the dark parts to like a brown. I'm gonna make them closer to black. And then finding like skin tones are really tough. And let's do this. I'm gonna add a contrast node in between. Okay, so I don't want to add it in between there. I'm not gonna use that. I think that's just gonna be fine. All right, cool. I have this also plugged into the emissive because it'll give me a very sharp, the sharpest image I can usually get. I don't know why that is, but I'm using a 4K, so I'm gonna hit bake. All right, but since this is done, let's go ahead and take a look at it. So 553 is what I used. Just delete the old one. Paste the new one. Hit F2 so I can change all this at one time. Hit right so I'm at the end of the file name. Shift. And then P. All right, changed it all to a mod. All right. So let's see what it looks like. I wish there was a way to change the colors of the fur dynamically, and I have not figured out a way to do that yet. Where we could change it like in-game colors. I think it would be possible, but I think I'd have to use like a different kind of fur. Like I'd have to make the fur myself. And maybe I could do it better, maybe I couldn't, I don't know. Oh, did the new update hit? I don't think it affected anybody. I don't think it did. Did it already pass? I thought they were waiting to do that for a couple of days. Okay, so that was the first screenshot I made, so let's see how this one looks. All right. And I did not set my stuff to never stream. And I'm on pretty low settings right now. So I'm gonna need to do that. Okay, so we got some clipping up top, which I might be able to fix. Now, oops. I think I might turn the hands off. Okay, cool. That's not bad. That's definitely not bad. I mean, it's definitely gonna have some clipping, but I think that's acceptable, you know. I don't know why the shoulders seem to fall a little bit differently. But okay, let's see what it looks like under better graphics as well. If whoever actually gets heard by Namco, I wish they could they give us the option to save our settings or have a couple preferences, or at least one preference, right? One default favorite and then whatever. So we'll set it to ultra. My system can't handle ultra when I'm streaming and doing all this other stuff, so I usually turn it off. Okay, so the fur is coming through, right? Oh, and I need to set the streaming method because it's getting all blurry. But it doesn't look bad, I don't think. I think it looks pretty solid. I'd have to compensate for the fur, so I'd probably have to push it out a little bit more, which I don't really mind. I could make it a little bit thicker of a cloth as well. But it looks like a couple of things. Yeah, the fur for the hat, I didn't take into consideration. But other than that, I think it's looking pretty clean. Now let's see what it looks like in game. So let's switch this down to like medium. And then so I'm gonna put it in the wind settings as well, right? So I think the biggest wind gust is in Fallen Destiny, and then I'm not sure about the other stages. All right, so and so the hat that I have also, I might need to reconsider how I position it. I don't want it like I want it up off of her head. So I'm not sure. Oh, my system's struggling. For the most part, it's not too bad. Let's see with okay. Oh, it's like getting super folded, but I might have to figure out what is causing that part. I think that's the um the turn of the hip. That's probably causing that, or the spine two bone, right? Because she's bent. You're able to block it now? What? It's not bad. Alright, so yeah, I'll play a couple of rounds. We turn the settings whack down though. Alright, so we'll set this down to low. I'll set this to that. Let's turn the texture quality up to high. Post processing to medium. And I really don't care about anything else. Okay, so let's see what it looks like on base level. And I mean, it looks great.
Get ready for the next battle.
I'm not sure if I want to. I think what I'm going to do is change the hands, right? Let the hands clip through. I don't care if the hands clip through. Bro, I don't know how to fight Raven. I'm just going to try to stay alive. All these extra bodies, bro. I don't even know. Nice. Hmm. Oh no. Did my system crash? My system might have crashed. Oh, probably because I got too much stuff going on. Let's go ahead and save this. Is the stream still up? Yeah, it's still up. Alright, we'll be done with the modding for right now. Why can't I get back to the game? It's completely froze. Alright, but yeah, that's it. That's all I got for today. I'm gonna play some ranked and chill. Oh, hey, what's good, Reaper? Panda booty physics? We haven't figured that stuff out yet. News with the stage mods. Stage mods are still um, pretty low on the priority list. They're too difficult. They're so difficult. I hate it. We don't have custom materials yet, and if you use any kit bashing or other sources, um, resetting a 500 materials to the Tekken status is not fun. Um, so I think we're still a good way away from having custom stages of any good degree. But yeah, I think my system can't handle all the competing platforms right now. And I'm not sure what I want to do for my next mod. I still have a Lady Deadpool mod to finish, and I just created a Tamaki from Fire Force mod that needs to get textured correctly. I'm debating on whether I just want to get in the game, play with the physics for her suit, because it's a thick suit, and I really want to be able to have that stiff motion, um, and see how that's gonna work, right? Uh, versus just like a frilly dress and stuff, or a coat like this. It's a very unique coat that these guys wear, and in the anime it doesn't move very much also. So, but I don't want it completely stiff either. So it's gonna be a rough one to tackle. Uh, but yeah, I'm gonna try to name these things better. My stuff is gonna be called T8, as you can see here, because just try to avoid the algorithm as much as possible. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call it for right now. I might be on later tonight if I can't sleep, but that's about it. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, checking it out. It's all good.